Hey everybody, this is NFT Buyer 777. I am the co-founder of Meta Millions, and today we are going to interview Lauren from Solana NFT Radar. She is the founder, and I'm really excited because her Discord and her project started off different than almost every other project in the space. So I'm excited to talk to her about it, how it's grown, and the future of her project. So I hope you enjoy it, guys. All right, guys. So today we have Lauren on from Solana NFT Radar. I'm really excited to talk about her project and the future of her project and just that Discord in general. But before I get into it, Lauren, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and kind of your project as a whole.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Lauren with Solana NFT Radar. We have the Twitter page and then the Discord server as well. And we recently launched the beginning of kind of our I'll say project, quote unquote. With our radar passes, we have the Founders Pass collection out now. And we're in the process of kind of forming a DAO, and then we have some other things that we've been working on for the project that we'll talk about. But yeah, that's me. Excited to talk to you.
Yeah. Now, you guys started off not around a project. Like you weren't planning on being a project at all. You really created the Discord. You created the Twitter first, right?
Yeah, yep. The Twitter's been around since August, and then the Discord, I believe, was like late September when I was finally convinced to make a Discord. I had enough people ask for it, and I never wanted to create one just because I was already in like, 10, 20, 30 Discords at that
Right.
time, which I thought was a lot back then. As I hit my 200 server limit the other day.
Yikes. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, no, like people don't need another Discord. We're in too many already. And then I just had enough people ask me for one. I was like, okay, I'll make one. And I did not expect it to become what it has. I kind of thought it would be like an ancillary thing to the Twitter account, but I think it's become the
Right.
opposite, where the server is really more the focal point of our platform, and then the Twitter is more ancillary to the
Yeah.
Discord, which is fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you made the Discord because that has been where so much of my learning in the NFT space has come from. I mean, you guys have some very, very intelligent people in that Discord. I mean, your research team, tell us a little bit about your research team. How did that develop? Because, I mean, for those of you that are watching that are not in the Discord, you guys have to check out the research team in the Discord. I mean, and the Discord is free. Like you can hop in. I'll link it in the comments. I mean, where did you find these people? Who, like, I know you probably don't know them, but how did you get in touch with these guys?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of them were just like some of the first people to join the server, and they just kind of hopped in and were like, "Hey, we have followed your Twitter and we really like what you're doing and we want to help." And I was just like, "Okay, like I'll just make a role, for you guys." And then we had like a separate chat that was like just for us, where we could kind of like pop in with projects that we maybe wanted to look at together before we shared it to the group, to kind of
Right.
do like a little bit more like in-depth research ourselves, to kind of do some vetting. And yeah, there were just a lot of them, like Bored to Death was one of them, and just a few people that just like joined the Discord and were like, hey, we're here to help. We like what you're doing. And they've all just continued to be super active in the server. You have Dolce, right? Like she's
Yeah.
pretty much like an anchor of the server. Like people,
Yeah. Big brain. Dulce is
yeah,
big brain.
yeah. Like there's they a lot of them were there right kind of early on, and then I've added people as time has gone by, and basically just from people who have been like really strong contributors, I'll just like reach out to them if I've noticed that they've kind of stepped up, and I just see them really active and contributing a lot to the server. like hot sauce, right? I think he
Right.
joined like a couple weeks after I started it, and then I just remember like seeing him really active all the time.
Yeah.
So I just asked him if he wanted the role, and yeah, I don't know any of them. I didn't know any of them, in person or before I started the server. It was just a very organic thing, which has been really cool, and they continue to be really, really great sources of information. They've kind of just over the last few months, like people have, sort of realized that like they know a lot about the space, and they're
Yeah.
great people to ask questions and just kind of learn from. And I've learned a lot from all of them myself, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I love talking to a lot of the research people. They've really helped me get a better understanding of the NFT space as a whole. But so your project or the Discord didn't start around being a project, but I was in there right after Hot Sauce. I was like around 800. Hot Sauce, I think, was around 400 or 600 members in the Discord. But I remember going through that whole like October, November, and everybody in the Discord was like, we need a NFT. Let's give you our money.
when
You
when
know,
Radar
yeah.
DAO.
When I was there that whole time and it was great. But what that built was, I mean, you what I loved watching is you didn't want to just make a PFP. There's nothing wrong with great art that's a PFP, but you wanted to make something that is going to become a business. Or if it's not going to be a business, it's definitely going to be a very influential tool in the NFT. So tell me a little bit more about the incubator and what it's going to be, or I guess what your hope for it is going to be in the NFT space.
Yeah. So like you said, the server, and same with my Twitter account, right? Like it was never I didn't start it with like a project in mind. I started it because well, the Twitter was essentially just, me trying to collect information in one place for myself.
Mhm.
And then, that also happened to be, I think, something that other people wanted too. And then with the server, it was just kind of a place that I thought like could basically help me with what I was doing with the Twitter, and help bring more people in to like research projects and talk to teams. And that's absolutely what it became, which is awesome. But yeah, that it sort of evolved into this place of a lot of like education and just a lot of like knowledge sharing, and people being able to like come together and just like talk through things together, right? Like it's just like that, I don't know, people kind of now know it as the place to like, if you're new to NFTs, like go here. Or if you are experienced in NFTs, go here, right? Like there's something for everybody, and like everyone that contributes can, give their different perspectives and
Mhm.
bring like a different, background of knowledge. And like I think that's so beneficial to the space as a whole,
Yeah.
like just being able to kind of have all of that in one place and have it accessible to as many people as possible, because I think that also like really benefits all of us, right? When we can have information about projects, and whether it's like research or people having kind of their investment theses, and just finding project early, right? Like getting into servers early and things like that. Like it's better to do those things as a group, because it's just too much for one person. And that was my problem like with the
Right.
Twitter account when things started to really pick up back in, I'll say, like October. I just like couldn't keep up by myself anymore. So then
Mhm.
having people in the server help me out was just super valuable. um yeah, and when people started kind of calling for a project, I was like, well, I don't, I think like a strength of certain projects in this space is that they establish a community first,
Mhm.
and then they didn't just like, I don't, and this was the case with me too, right? Like I didn't want to launch a project just to like have a project or to do like a paid group. Like I really, whatever I did, I was like, I don't want to turn this into like a paid alpha group, or
Right.
something that like puts up any sort of barrier for people to be able to get this information. Keeping that in mind, I also know that like the scalability of it is limited when, I'm doing things for free, Hot Sauce is doing things for free. Like at some
Right.
point we do need to be able to like dedicate ourselves to this in a more full-time capacity, which like I do this in addition to my day job. But like it's not sustainable to do it for free forever. So
Yeah.
it took me a long time before I was like comfortable getting like sort of the plan in place for Radar DAO and like the passes and everything. It took me a long time to kind of come to a point where I felt like it had like an intentional purpose, and wasn't going to sacrifice like the free and open information that I think is so important.
Yes.
So yeah, so like, that's still just kind of like an overarching goal that I have and will always carry through like with whatever we do. But with the incubator specifically, um, that's basically our way of like more officially working with project teams in the same way that we have been like over the last 6 months, since I started in this space. All I've really done is like get to know project teams, learn about what they're doing, and then things that I feel are bringing value to the space, or that I feel like are good ideas, quote unquote good ideas. I like to put those in front of people because I'm like, hey, like this makes a lot of sense to me. And then like I feel like people have some sort of trust in like my opinion on things. And I wanted to kind of like decentralize that actually. So that's kind of like where I'm coming from with like the formation of the DAO, and like having people be able to actually like give input on like projects that we officially work with. So that's not just me like saying, hey, we're going to work with this project and this one and this one. Like I want it to be a collective decision, because that's
Right.
where I think like our server is really strong, is we, even like with the mint polls, right, like we sort of, hard to explain this, but like we kind of like back things as a group, which is better. Like I don't want like to be a single source of information. I want it to come from the community, right, that
Yeah.
is supporting projects. I want that to come from a group of people versus just me. So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
really
that's
respect that thing. I mean, that idea. And I've seen it since I've been in your server in early October, late September. It really has been that you will say something and you're saying, hey, this is my opinion, but I'm not, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to speak for everybody else. Like I encourage you to have your own opinions. You encourage that research, you encourage people to go out and make their own decisions. And if it's different than yours, or if you really like a project and there are people that are like, man, I really don't like this project, I've never seen you really be disgruntled, or I've never felt that from you. And I really respect that, because it is one thing to feel like you have to have an opinion and it's the right opinion and everybody else should share that opinion, and you do research, come to your own conclusion, and then also respect other people's conclusions that they've come to. So I really love that in you, in how you carry yourself in the Discord server, and also how you have kind of cultivated this, or I guess brought a lot of people around in the research team, and also in the DAO that also has this mindset that is very prevalent throughout Solana NFT Radar. And I think that is a great mindset to have in the NFT space, but also just in life. But I'm really excited about the continued success, or I guess the continued growth of the Discord and the incubator. It's something that's really interesting to me personally, because I love business. I love the growth of business. But where, like, you've been in the space for quite a while, and what do you feel like is one of your favorite projects that you've seen come through? I know some of Solana NFT Radar's favorite projects that have done well, and some that have off. I think some we've taken big W's across the board, but then some we've all taken L's and we're like, well, pack up our bags. No. But what would you say is one of your favorite that you have seen come through, or I guess develop over the several months?
Yeah, that's funny. Because I think like to that point, like that's another reason why I want to like kind of like keep an aspect of decentralization in like the platforms and kind of like the projects that we sort of put our support behind, where and that was the whole point of the mint polls, right? Because up until I started doing those, I was the one making the decision for like which projects I would tweet about, like on their mint day or whatever. Like I would tweet out like the mint alerts and things like that. And now I only go based off of the results of the mint polls, because I don't want to be like a singular person making the decision to quote unquote tell people what to mint, which is not what I'm ever doing. But that's how people perceive it. And
Yes.
I know that like new people coming into this space, probably when they like see my account for the first time, they are going to put like some level of trust in it and view it as some sort of like endorsement, even though that's shouldn't be what it's perceived as. But
right.
I like it's hard to educate every person every day. So I try to just kind of have that reminder of like I'm not endorsing something. I'm not like saying, hey, you should mint this. Like it's never financial advice. It's more it's radiating the information that's coming from a larger group of people, which
right.
I think is really important in like the decentralized and open web, because when we get into a situation where I don't want to name names, but like platforms that have a really large reach, let like singular entities decide what goes like on their homepage. That's when you get into a situation where it's like
that's a subtweet. It's not an at.
yeah. This is just a hypothetical situation.
Hypothetical. But let's call it Wagic.
Yeah, hypothetical, totally. And it goes for any any platform that has like a significant audience and market share. Really, like there is a level of responsibility to them to uphold like the ethos of Web3, which is decentralization. And
right.
I'm a proponent, and the people who I've gathered with me to be on the Radar DAO advisory board are also strong proponents of like community governance, where there shouldn't be one singular person deciding what gets put in front of the faces of millions of people. It should be those millions of people deciding that. It's something that we should be doing kind of by the community for the community. It shouldn't be coming from a singular entity, because that's Web 2 and we're in Web 3. But anyway, we'll get there. I do think we'll get there. But yeah, so to your question about my favorite project, that was just a little tangent. I had to take the opportunity to go down.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I would say, so me personally, Lauren, not Solana NFT Radar, me, Lauren, one of my top favorite projects, and they've been one of my favorite projects for a very long time, are the famous Fox Federation. I just think they've, I don't know, like it's hard for me to almost describe this, but I just feel like they've done everything perfectly. Like I can't point to a single thing that they've done where I've been like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Like they aside from like just delivering like and pretty incredible utilities to people, right? Like their token marketplace, which is something that they never promised, right? Like when they minted in September, they never promised that. They didn't know that was going to be something that there was a demand for. But they've built this really, really strong community. Like there's a lot of people in the Radar server who kind of, I think, come back and forth between our server and Foxy DAO. And like they have some of, I would say, if you want to call them like an alpha group, they have good alpha, I guess. But I think that's just because their community is so strong and people spend a lot of time there. And I think when they minted, like they didn't sell out. And so like they
didn't sell out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they didn't sell out.
I
So
should
they
have minted.
airdropped. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of projects you look back and you're like, oh, I should have minted 20 of those, but at the time,
Right.
no. Yeah, but when they airdropped to people who had minted, and with like the transdimensional foxes that they did as an airdrop, and the fox dens, and just like they've essentially just like created their own ecosystem, and have just continued building. They build things for their holders, but they also build
Mhm.
things that, like, at the same time, they benefit everybody. Like, you don't have to hold a fox to use the token marketplace or to use Foxy Swap.
Right.
You can get their token for almost nothing basically, and use those tools. And like, I think that's amazing because it provides utility and benefits to their holders, while also it's accessible to really anyone that wants to use them. And they I really do think that they like keep the ecosystem in mind, and like try to do what's best for the space as a whole. I think Skeleton Crew is the same way. They very much do that as well. Like, they're just kind of heads down, like bringing these really amazing and very talented artists to Solana. And it's people that have just these just insane talents, or it's like, I don't think they would have found Solana had it not been for them. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of a lot of projects that I really like that I have just held for months, and I don't care about the floor price because I
Mhm.
love the teams and like what they're doing. And I really think that, like, right now, over the last few days, I know people have been saying that we're starting to see more of a rotation back into teams who have been around for a while and that have just
Yes.
continued building. And yeah, I'm so glad to see that, because it's teams that have been around since September, that have just been heads down working, and are creating the space that we're going to have for the future. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like owning projects that have solid teams that continue to deliver. I love my flips, don't get me wrong, but I like having more of
Yep.
my soul in.
Well, you gotta flip, right? There's a time and there's absolutely
Yeah.
a time and a place for flipping, and it's like I do it too, right? Like, we all kind of
Yeah.
do it, but then I'll say, like, okay, I flipped something for 5 SOL. I can go buy maybe like another project that's been around for a while that I
Yes.
wanted more of, or something. Yeah.
Yeah. At the Magic Eden ticket that they airdropped. Thanks for the quick
Yeah.
7 SOL.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
we can't say they never did anything for us. No, I'm just kidding.
True.
But Lauren, I really appreciate you hopping on. I know a lot of people are really going to enjoy this. A lot of really good information. And guys, if you aren't in Solana NFT Radar's Discord, I'm going to link it, like I said, in the comments. Definitely hop in there, either at me, NFT buyer. Don't at Lauren, because everybody ats Lauren, but you'll see her.
That's okay. You can tag hot sauce.
Yeah, tag hot sauce. There we go. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Lauren, for hopping on. I really appreciate you taking time out.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, encourage everybody to join our server. It is free. No one, it'll never be paywalled. That's a promise. Yeah, come hang out with us, right? It's a very good place to learn and just kind of be among people who have been in the space for a day, or people who have been in the space for 6 months or more. So it's
Yes.
a great place to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And thanks for having
definitely.
me.
Yeah, you are welcome.
We'll have to do this again.
Yes, for sure. All right, guys, you heard it. Lauren's going to do it again. We'll hold.
Sure.
All right. Bye.